Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Misfit One Lifestyles with your girl, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. All right, listen, our guest today is someone who is going to blow your mind. Listen, this little lady is so powerful. Powerhouse Miss Veronica Pearson. How you doing, boo?
I am awesome. How are you, lady? Like we just talked about catching up more in person.
It's so embarrassing. Isn't that bad? I was like, I think we went to lunch probably about 9 years ago.
Girl, yeah. But like we just said, you can't confuse seeing me on social media with seeing me in person. We gotta all do better. We gotta
do better. And we making a vow right here. We got to see each other in person at least once.
Lunch in 3 weeks. We're gonna have lunch next month. I said it on camera. There we go.
Got it. Y'all heard that? Next month. Because time goes by fast. And that's one of the things you talk about as listen, for you guys who do not know her, she's a multifaceted powerhouse in the realm of filmmaking, writing, directing, producing, and branding. You heard me. I said it all in one breath, and that took a lot.
It's a lot to do. Shoot.
I was just about to say, now, if it took me a lot to say, tell them, what is it like to be so connected to all those different, because that's different hats. How is that? How are you doing that?
It's still, to me, under the form of media. And because I've always been a person who liked to control the narrative. And so it branched out of me helping people control the narrative, whether that's, doing PR for like the color purple or taking programs by Google for justice impacted people and saying, okay, how do we get people that were formerly incarcerated to do better? Different things like that. It's like all about controlling the narrative, because for me, it started with history. So I was like, okay, Black people weren't allowed to control their narrative. Now, how do I help people do that while doing the same for myself as well as others? And that's where it's from. So just making sure it all stays in the medium and that you love what you do. That's the thing. Like people, it's a difference between a calling and your goals. So like things are natural to me to just spit out something and say, okay, that's how we can move it. That's how we can, tell the story out of this, what we can do. And so it's just, I like what I do. When I don't like what I do, I know how to delegate.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to that because you just said something that was pretty deep that I want to expand on. You said there's a difference between your calling and your goals.
Yeah.
Talk to us about it. Tell us.
Well, that's because goals are things we set. That's how I've always felt about it. Those are like, okay, I want to do, $1 million this year, or I want to lose like 20 pounds or whatever. Those are things you set. But that calling or that vision, especially if God put it in you, it's going to keep hounding the fool out of you. It's going to keep gnawing you, even when you broke, even when you don't have the money, it's going to keep saying, well, won't you do it? Even when you're distracting yourself with something else that is prosperous. Now, here's the thing. You can be distracting yourself with something else that is prosperous, but that other thing keeps needling you because that's what you're subconsciously supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? But we let life get in the way. We got to pay bills. We got to do this. We got to succeed. So we find everything else, but focus on what we really need to be focused on. So.
And I love how you say, even if we're chasing that money, and I thank God that he made your calling very profitable.
There you go. God knew I wasn't designed to be broke. Because I can't sow a seed into you and other people when I'm starving. You know what I'm saying? I can't water people when I'm full of drought. That's not how that works. I have to be in a space, and it's not always monetary. Sometimes it has to be in a mental and a physical space.
Right.
You have to be physically prepared to sow into people. You have to be mentally prepared to sow into people. So it's not just always finance.
I love that. So let's talk about that. You have extensive experience in the film industry and building powerful brands. And so can you share with us what some of those key strategies you have employed to constantly succeed at this? Not like you were like, oh, like you said, you wasn't meant to be broke. Okay. But you have such successful projects and you have generated significantly amount of revenue. So can you share with us some of the strategies that you?
Well, it depends on what I'm brought on a project to do. So if I'm brought on a part for branding and marketing, or if I'm brought on a part for script consulting, doing pre-production, or sometimes if I'm brought into the company culture part to say, how can we define this culture? What are we trying to do? So one of the things you want to do is you always want to be aware of everything that's going on around a project or around a person or around a thing. A lot of people don't do their homework. I'm a researcher. I go down a rabbit hole quick. I know something a little bit about everything that don't even have nothing to do with me or a project, but I'll learn it. And so then I try to make sure I'm unbiased enough to say, okay, what are the pros and cons? Even if I don't agree with it, what's going on here? What is going to sell this? Because with films, as well as television, as well as podcasting, as well as whether it's Amazon to Tesla to whatever, you're selling a narrative, you're selling a story. So it's nothing but emotional marketing. So I go on to say, okay, what do I need to do in this project to tap in? And I'm okay doing the research and looking, and I'm okay doing every part. Like I took classes in grip work, light work, PR work, marketing work, line producing, every business, because I said, okay, I need to know what everything entails. I don't need to know it extensively because that's not my calling, but I need to know a little. You see what I'm saying? So I think as much research and being able to work with a team. These projects, no matter what the project is, everything takes a team, whether that's parenting in a house or that's on $1 billion sets or it's on a $10, podcast or something. Everything takes a team, real talk. And
Absolutely.
So you have to be aware enough to work with other people. So that's why I do my research and start saying, what do we need to do? How we make this happen? Everything got a door to go through. What are we doing?
I love it because that's valuable right there in itself. And you guys are welcome. Because she just said one of the strategies is to be aware of whatever product or project you are involved with. And what's crazy about it is because when she said it doesn't matter what she is, because she's a multifaceted entrepreneur, right? So she works from all different angles, from the creative part to actually producing, doing all these things. So what gives you your inspiration? What keeps you going?
Me. And that's the best thing I can say is me. It's it's always, I know how people can't phrase it, so to speak, is like the inspiration for me is like, I know I'm here to do something great. And it doesn't matter what people think. When you say great, they think it means like you're getting all these accolades or the money. Like right now, if I had to close my eyes, I told everyone the main thing I want people to know is, was I a good mother?
Oh, yes.
My company can replace me, my clients, everybody. But can my kids say my mom was always there? You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's about what am I here to do to leave a legacy? Like my goal for me has always been to move the needle for Black people, especially at least 10 to 15% by myself before I leave this earth. You understand me? So that's what keeps me moving, is the fact that other people before me put in work and much more work and much greater risk than I did. So what am I saying they complain about? What am I worried about? The door not being open, kick a window in. So me knowing that I have the ability to do it keeps me going. Like, let's go. That's it.
I love that because right now you're giving me all kind of feels, because what's great about it is, like you said, especially as a Black woman, a Black person, what you do is you keep empowering the Black voices. And I love how you do that. Like, so just like you said it, I think you kind of said it earlier, like how the Black people before us opened the doors, did the shaping and all this. How are you shaping it for our next generation. How do you feel you are doing that?
Well, one, like I said, trying to control the narrative as much as possible to say this is authentic for us, and not that we're monolithic, but it's authentic to us. And also that means going out, like I have a nonprofit called Rebrand Black. And that's to help a lot. It's not just younger people, it's middle-aged people, people of color, and say, okay, do we need to tackle things that's going on in the justice system? Then, all right, how do I give them, like we partner with Google. Google gave us a ton of money to come in and say, okay, give them the tools for the tech industry once they've gotten out of prison, so you got less recidivism when you give someone something to do. And I know how the numbers look towards us, so it's my job to do something about it. It's my job to talk to millennials and Gen Zs when they have questions that their mom or their grandmother or whoever wasn't there to answer. They're like, okay, is love for me still genuine? Or, I'm not designed to be anybody, baby mama, baby daddy type of thing, or learn from the lessons we did. I don't want them to repeat the things we did and only repeat them because it's generated. Like, I'm here for you not to like my opinion all the time, but what you won't ever say is I sold you out with that opinion. Like, you want to say what she was trying to tell us. So for me, it's about keeping the legacy of truth alive and then trying to bring us together as much as possible. But I know that's not going to be everybody. Some people got natural selection. I have learned you got to let them go. And so you just have to grab the ones that are saying, how do we move across the board? And that does not mean like I exclude any other ethnicity, but I am here specifically for mine to grow, because every other ethnicity is not making sure that's happening. You see what I'm saying? So we got to do, we got to do. That's the political sector. That's the, whether it's capitalism and from, creating baking soda to whatever. We have to be there to empower one another. And that's my part.
I love that, because you are making a way for it to be more diverse, and to really shape the narrative. Like you say, shape our narrative, because it's so important for inclusion. And we have been excluded on so much that it is so important for inclusion. And I love that you take it, like you said, some of the projects, aside from filmmaking, you are very involved with your community. You have a commitment to uplifting others and really helping people in different ways, from the grassroots to the big,
cut the check.
So share some of those impactful initiatives that you're working on right now, or what was one of the biggest things that really stand out to you, and what are you looking forward to?
One of the things, like I said, we did this year, for the past year, we worked with Google. And the thing is, a lot of companies want you to use them. And I tell people this, they want to have that social capital, that tax write-off. And it's okay, they see what's going on with the numbers with prison, and they say, okay, how do we stop this? How do we slow this down? How do we retrain people? So I love the fact that my nonprofit alone, we did almost 3,000 people in over a year, retraining them on tech jobs from, let's see, we had cybersecurity all the way to just knowing how to write a resume. You see what I'm saying? And then we also give scholarships. So I love that. We give scholarships every year to high school graduates. We do not cut it to the school. So I am very adamant about that. We don't give the check to the school. We give it to that student, because that student earned that check. And they may need to pay something else other than school. They may need to get a car. They may need to get a computer. They may need to help feed themselves. So they have that money, and we do them from $1,000 to $5,000 scholarships every year. And I was like, so I love the fact that I can sow into people. Like I said, that's my whole goal, is to be a sower and a water of seeds. And we have to get it, like when you were just talking about exclusion and diversity. And I try to tell people, I don't need you to include me. I don't need you to have me there for diversity. What we need to do is be okay loving and having our own. And that starts with utilizing the capital that we have, so we can create distribution channels for film. We can create distribution channels for cell phone and tech companies, where we don't have to always rely on somebody else telling us yes. And so, because sometimes they want you there for the tax write-off, because there's a lot of tax write-offs. If you got a woman in that chair, a Black female in that chair, another ethnicity in that chair, these companies get major write-offs, just putting you in a place, but you're not contributing anything. And then you got Black people who get in these chairs and don't contribute because they scared. They don't want to lose their spot. They don't want to lose their power. And I was like, you just there collecting a check. So it's like you have to be able to walk in a room, and when people ask me, well, how can you say the things you say? And